This show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers in Portland, Oregon, who live to help brewers learn more and ferment better. Join our recipe receiving Patreon groups and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hey there, and welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today I am joined by the Director of Operations at cmbanter.com down there, Mr. James Carlson, and what was he running? Look at that.
He's going to the bathroom.
He was waddling like a penguin. What on earth? What?
Back.
There's the president chief. I keep pointing the wrong direction. The president and chief keg washer at techconnection.com. Yeah, on your screen he's down there. On my screen he's over there. And on his screen he's right there. Mr. Todd Burns. Todd, what were you doing?
Oh, I had to check something because I was gonna show y'all what I was doing today, and I forgot something. So I'm back in the game now. I'm back in the game.
I thought he was going to the bathroom too, and I was gonna say, Todd, we just had like an 8-minute break, so we.
Well, you made me drink 2 beers during the tasting thing, and I had to go to the bathroom. I had to look at a setting on there because we were going to talk about this at some point.
Yeah, made you, though, is very subjective, my friend. I didn't make you do. Look, I still have, and that's a good segue to start off our small talk. I still have the 2 beers that you sent me for our episode of Recipe Recap this week, which was going over a recipe from homebrewsupply.com called My First Pale Ale. This is the all-grain version that Todd had brewed, and this is the extract mini mash version that he brewed. Both turned out.
I thought you liked it because it's been an hour and you haven't even hardly touched one.
It has not been an hour.
He's savoring it, Todd.
I am savoring it. Well, here's what I thought. I was like, I told Todd, hey, this week what we'll do, we're remote, but we're still going to do the episodes. You sent the beer. We'll record Recipe Recap first, and that way we can also have beer to enjoy while we're doing our normal episode. And Todd just blew through that. I was like, well, I just have a kegerator over there, so I'll enjoy it during both and as much as I want. And I was like, yeah, you can do that. So anyway.
Sure, absolutely. Why not? I would if I was him.
No kidding, right? This week is a good week to tune in to Recipe Recap if you're not already. If you're subscribed to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Pocket Cast or wherever you listen to audio podcast, you'll get it in your feed, whether you like it or not. We force it down you. But on our YouTube channel, if you haven't checked it out, I enjoy the new show, guys. I like, they're quick, they're very digestible, and we go over the recipes that we're brewing. And this, My First Pale Ale, might be one of my,
I can't get over. Hold that up again. Look how clear that is.
Dude, look at that.
Todd,
I mean, you're all
well done, sir.
You're all grain, Todd.
Thank you.
Look. I'm going to do the whole podcast from right here.
That's bright. That's as bright as you're going to get right there.
I'm going to do the whole podcast like I'm the Wizard of Oz.
You got to screenshot that right there.
I did.
That's amazing, Todd. Look at that. Wow, you are the master.
So yeah, coming from Kyle, Texas, is facing a beer.
I like clear beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too, and your friends do too.
Seriously. We have a member of our Patreon, I think it was Renee, who in the private Facebook group, which James, we gotta get you on Facebook, man. If anything, just for
Facebook's
this.
the devil.
If anything, our members in our Homebrew Happy Hour super duper secret club, which people have done the math. They go look at our Patreon numbers and they're like, there's way more people in your secret group. I kind of let everyone in. I'm really bad.
Just you. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they'll message me like, hey, I don't really have the money to be in your Patreon, but can I be in the group? Yeah, come on. Okay, come on. The more the merrier.
Yeah, I'd be a bad lifeboat operator. One more.
Yeah, one more.
And it sinks.
Yeah, one more. Yeah, well, if Todd, I always joke about when the apocalypse happens and I go to Todd's ranch and, he needs someone to guard the gates. It can't be me, man. It can't be me because I'll just be like, oh, okay. Yeah,
don't tell anybody. Come on.
Yeah, y'all can come in.
You're pulling the plow. We already discussed.
I know. I was gonna say Todd's made it also very clear that he might shoot me.
No, I figured he would clean the chicken coop. That's what I figured he would.
Well, no. So one day he was like, "Hey, man, if it comes down to it, I can plow. I could stand behind a plow." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the deal, dude. I'm gonna need somebody in front of the plow."
Yeah, he did say that. You did. That's true. You did say that, and I'm joking. I'm only half-hearted laughing because I don't know where we're going in this country. But
yeah, it's been a crazy month, isn't it?
It has been. It feels like today's only the first, man.
And who said 2020's got to be better?
I know. At the end of 2019, everyone's like, 2020 is my year, and then 2020 was like, hey, hold my beer.
What's this?
But anyways, Todd, but let's go over you. I was going to bring up brew days, and so let's start off with yours. 2 weeks ago now, you brewed that Maybach, or when did you brew it?
Yep, not 2 weeks ago, not this last Saturday, but the Saturday before that. So a week and a half ish.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just pulled this out of the fermenter, and I put a hydrometer in it because I'm not sure. I was thinking about cold crashing it, but I wasn't sure where it was, and I was very surprised to see that it's much lower than it's actually supposed to be for the recipe, according to the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 1.012 right now.
So let me ask you, Todd, what kind of yeast did you use with that recipe, sir?
Imperial yeast.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's the problem. It fermented too well. So, no, I like a drier beer. So I don't, originally the recipe said it was going to be at like 1.018. And I was like, yeah, because
it's a bit more body than I want.
Yeah, that's more Maybach than I want, but more dry. I like a drier Maybach myself. It's not 100% true to style. So anyway, yeah, it's at 1.012. So I'm going to cold crash it today. Glad to hear that. Also, I got a kick earlier because we were doubting the hydrometer. So I had to pull out my father's beer hydrometer from like 1960 that he gave me the other day.
So that's Billy.
Yeah, and we're guessing it's bricks because it doesn't say bricks. It says % of sugar for beer. Made in the USA.
Hey, USA. And hold on. I want to change cameras because I need video footage of you breaking your father's hydrometer.
I thought about that when I said we were going to do this at the last minute. I was like, what are the chances of me breaking at least one of these hydrometers during the podcast? But I am going to try very carefully.
Now, remind me, this was the rebrew of the Maybach, right? And also, yes. Am I pronouncing it wrong? I said Maybach and someone corrected me, and then I said Maybach and someone corrected me.
No, I say Maybach, but it may be Maybach. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, some people say Maybach, and then some people say Maybach. The Maybach people are saying it wrong, according to the Maybach people.
Yeah,
it's not really as clear as the other one yet, is it?
James, I'm going to start forwarding you all the mail I get, and I want you your answers are way better than mine. My answers are like, I never considered that. Thank you. Your answer would be like, well, you're in the Maybach group, where some people are in the Maybach group.
So I think we should, you can see this here now.
Yeah.
Let's look at it in 3 weeks and see what it looks like.
It looks like a NEPA.
I was going to say, it looks hazy.
Yeah, well, it's coming out of I haven't even cold crashed it at all yet. So that's what the beer Josh is drinking right now looked like at one point, right?
Yeah,
wow.
this is I'm finishing the extract one first. Only because a spoiler alert, if you're listening to this before recipe recap, look, both versions turned out good, but the all grain one was my preferred choice. I wouldn't say way better as much as like it was definitely my preferred choice. It was really good.
I forgot to look what I hit on original gravity on this, but it says I'm supposed to hit 1.068. I think I was close to that. And then the final gravity was 1.018, and it's going to end up being 1.012 or 1.011. And it was going to be 6.6% alcohol. I'm a little nervous about this now, James.
Well, our previous experience with the Maybach.
Yeah.
No, tell us. Remind us.
Josh is like, don't bring it up again.
We drank Kolsch beer one night in Cologne. Yeah. James, I'll let you finish.
Well, we were walking around enjoying all the Kolsch, and this was in Cologne one year. And I looked at Todd, and he looked at me, and there was this little bar downstairs, and it said Maybach. So we went down there, and Todd started speaking Spanish to the guy, and we got a Maybach, and we didn't know what the alcohol was, but that ruined our flow, man. Completely ruined our flow, and we weren't much use after that.
It really did.
Woke up with hangovers.
Yeah.
So you almost can't get drunk drinking Kolsch. Like if you're having a 7-ounce Kolsch glass and you go and they give you a couple of them and you go to the next place and you go to the next place, there's enough time involved there where you're okay.
Yep.
Unless you throw a big old Maybach in there.
Yeah. And we're talking a big old mug.
I was going to say, I remember that because in Cologne, I thought I was invincible. When Todd and we went to that jazz club and they just kept bringing them. I was like, man, I can drink. And it's like, oh, because they're sessionable kind of
Is that the one where the ladies were flirting with you?
Ladies of a certain demographic, my friend, that I happen to do very well with.
The over 70 crowd.
She was easily 74. She was definitely, yeah.
So your geriatric juice is what you're saying. Yeah, right?
I've told my wife, I've told Krista, I said, you better watch out. I still got it. I still have it. I'm a hot commodity. But
stay away from my mom when you're down here.
I was going to show that picture you sent me, Todd, of your parents from the Amazon order.
Is that funny or what?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, my parents are, as I've mentioned on the show before, 85 and like 83. My dad gets a package from Amazon the other day, and he's like, oh, what did I get from Amazon? I don't even remember ordering anything 2 days ago. And he opens it up, and he's like, why did I get a giant roll of condoms and lubricating oil?
He did.
So Amazon.
Oh my gosh.
Amazon just accidentally sent it to the wrong address, and my parents got it. So I took a picture of them like this, and they're both smiling and holding the. Oh,
it's my favorite photo you've ever seen.
So was it supposed to go to their neighbors, or
I don't know. I mean, he called Amazon. He's like, "Listen, I got a package that I don't believe I ordered. I'm not always. Sometimes I forget things at my age, but
I've never forgotten that.
You know what?
Need for this.
This is going to be good, guys.
Oh, your Maybach.
Can't wait. Now we're going to be enjoying this.
Good. Well, my brew days. My dad and I did an extract brew day of the true to style Kolsch that Mr. Carlson down there made the recipe. Great brew day. Hit our numbers. We actually, I say we hit our numbers. I think we came in a little high. It was very sweet. It was very sweet when we did the gravity reading before pitching. But
what was the gravity reading?
I'll have to ask my dad. I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah, because that should be around 4.5%. I think is what we've figured on that.
Yeah, I think what ended up happening is we may have gone into hot, like our thermometer may have been off, or the one thing that we had an issue is not the right word to say necessarily as much as consistently we deal with when we brew an extract kit on a propane outside stove is that you want to do the steeping at 150 to 152 for 20 minutes. And keeping it in that range can be tricky if you're not monitoring it the whole time. And if your calibration on any of your equipment might be a little bit off, you may actually be, oh God, we were doing it at 155 or 158 instead of the 152. And we think that
we proved that's possible too.
Oh, James makes terrible fun of me. I know because we're brewing on the system and it has a monitor that tells what the temperature is. And I'm sitting there with two different thermometers and going, I think one of this thermometer was 2 degrees off, and this one was 1 degree off, so it should be around 151.5 right now. But the screen showing 154. James is like, dude, Calm down.
True. But he continues to amaze me by his correctness.
Due diligence, right? Due diligence. Mr. Burns.
He proves me wrong every single time.
And the good.
That's not true. That's not true.
Oh,
James,
more often than not, I would say, sir.
Oh, what a position you're in, James. Because whenever I can prove him wrong, I'm nailing it in his head. or I try to make a $5 bet.
My humility, it's like.
So we did that brew day because we're trying to keep our brewing up with us, not just because we enjoy brewing, but because we want to keep Recipe Recap going without any hiccups. So
I enjoy it. I don't know about you guys.
I love
drink free beer while I'm on the clock.
I love it. Todd also sent me a Schwartz beer, which I believe we're doing next week.
Hey, did I hook y'all up right or what?
You did. Man.
I didn't just send you a 12-ounce Schwartz beer. I sent you a Slots beer. I sent you a 22-ounce bomber, didn't I?
I know. I was impressed when I got the package. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've been impressed by Todd's package. This is wonderful."
Man.
You don't have to say anything.
You got to watch what you say, man. There's people clipping stuff.
That's right. Oh, man. I need to make a separate YouTube channel called Homebrew Happy Hour Out of Context. It won't go bad at all. But anyway, we have a lot of brew days coming up, a lot of beer we could talk about. I love it. I love that even through this adversity, home brewing is one of those activities that you can enjoy and you should enjoy. And I hope everyone's doing healthy and being healthy rather and being safe out there. But send us your photos of your brew days. Let us know what you're brewing. If you picked up any recipes from Homebrew Supply or Keg Connection or your local homebrew supply shop, like James and I talked about last week, if you can support them, please do. We've already gotten word. What was it, James? Just last week, it was 2 or 3, right? The emails where they weren't just shut down because they had to by their municipal orders. They were shutting down forever. This was the catalyst that made them shut down. It's tough times, guys. So if you can support mom and pop, please do. But anyway, real quick before we get to the questions, I have our March giveaway to do. For our Patreon members, people who donate $5 or more at the various tiers, you get different entries or number of entries into our giveaway for our Patreon. For the March giveaway, we were doing a V3N from Mr. Carlson and CM Becker. It's a stout faucet, and I wanted to do it while we're doing this episode because people have asked me like, well, how do we know you didn't rig it? Because I would have won if I rigged it. But anyways, we have 140 total entries and I've given everyone a number and I use random.org, their true random number generator. And it should be on the screen right now. And when I hit generate, number 28, you're the winner.
Woohoo! I won.
Number 28, not Todd Burns, Mr. George Schroeder. Hey, our buddy Gorgeous George.
Yay.
Hey, he's the one who sends us the East Mill Creek Brewing on my kombucha.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
cool.
Look, he's that's his logo right there. Wow.
All right, George.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't rigged. Come on.
Oh no. Oh no! I'm gonna have to cut this out because I'm gonna have to cut this out because
summon the trolls.
Crap! Oh crap! You're right. Oh, that looks bad. Congratulations, George. I'll private message you. Our moving along. Our April.
Well, he already knew he won, right? So it's okay.
No, he didn't. I just did the. Oh.
He'll know tomorrow, right?
I get it. Thank you. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Everyone in our giveaway is part of our community, so it's to my benefit to have all of them win. But our March giveaway our April giveaway is going to be a CM Becker cleaning and sanitizing kit, plus this new product. We launched it today. Todd, would you go over it? It's a Q&A disinfectant right there on James' screen.
And I have it on my screen as well. But
mixed up already. Yeah, go over it real quick.
I'm
just because
spray y'all right now. So
it's not Todd. Todd had been approached by National Chemicals about this COVID-19. The CDC approved this product to combat it. Guy, it's not for your equipment. It's not for your brew day.
No.
This is for home use, right, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, it was made originally for bars and restaurants to sanitize, disinfect things, so you can use it on countertops, all different kinds of places. I don't want to hard sell it too much because we can't actually get very much right now. But
they were selling like crazy.
So we got 4 cases, and I gave 1 case to employees and friends. More than a case, right, James? We gave away, and then we put the rest, like 30 something, on the website, and it sold out in an hour. So we got 6 more cases coming in next week, but it's kind of hard to get. But anyway, it's we're trying to do everything we can to keep things sanitized and keep things safe around the office and around the home.
And I would say, Todd, thanks to you, affordable, because we went back and forth on the pricing, and he was very adamant about, let's keep this at a price that people can afford, and it absolutely is. Go compare online.
I was going to say, I don't give Todd enough credit because I like to ream him when I can, but this isn't a money-making endeavor. But if you can, the pre-orders are still going on at Kekenich, and it's on the homepage, but I haven't checked since we started recording Recipe Recap. It wasn't an hour, Todd. It was 37 minutes that the first.
Was it really?
37 minutes. We went through almost 40 of them.
Well, the people at National Chemical have been really good, and I'm gonna actually try to see if I can order another 6 cases tomorrow, so we'll have more of the stock on it. So we'll try to get more in. They're trying to produce as much as they can, but it's just a difficult time.
Yeah, and they do. Todd's also left them qualifying for flat rate shipping and all that. So if you're in need of it, contact us. Go to our website or call the office at 325-356-5204. Had to remember that real quick. If you have any questions on it, but yeah, I just wanted to say that our giveaway, we did put one aside because we had already planned on doing a CM Becker cleaning and sanitizing kit, which is, the beer line cleaning kit uses this Sandstep sanitizer and the Brew Clean, and it has everything you need. It lasts a long time. That cleaning kit does, keeping your equipment clean. The Sandstep is an incredible sanitizer, low foam. We have hard water out here. I don't know of a better sanitizer with hard water than that Sandstep. It is a phenomenal product. It does well. So we were giving that away, and Todd was like, well, why don't we just throw in one of these? It's called QA disinfectant from National Chemicals. And I was like, well, you've been selling them. And he was like, yeah, we can just give one away. So that's going to be a part of it for all members of our Patreon. I think it's at the $5 level and starting up. If you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, you can get all the details of everything that we are doing for each tier, what you get, and how you're helping the show. We greatly appreciate you guys. And reminder, like I said last week, April's recipe is going to be Happy Little Hops Session IPA from Homebrew Supply with the flagship yeast strain from our friends at Imperial Yeast. You heard that ad at the top of the show. I couldn't be more stoked to be working with Imperial right now. On all of our brew days, they seem better with Imperial. So thank you if you're a part of our Patreon. If you're not, consider joining if you want to support the content we're putting out. Or if you just want a good deal on recipes and you don't like me at all, I'm okay with that too. We've been over that. So anyways, fellas, I have 3 questions for us for today's show. The first one came from Laura using the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Laura wrote, I discovered your podcast last year and have enjoyed watching the show on YouTube. Thank you for the information you provide every week. My question is one that I don't think you've had before, which I'm hoping because then maybe it'll get on the show. Is there a reason the majority of recipes I buy call for an hour-long boil instead of a different amount of time? That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
Go for it.
Well, the biggest reason is a lot of times, beer has to have hops. And if you add hops in a beer and a boil, they have what's called isomerization. And that is the hop particles' ability to turn into alpha acids or bittering agents. And it takes an hour boil to do that.
Yeah. So the bittering hop, we call it the 60-minute boil hop is that's what we kind of gauge it by, right, James? So even if some beers benefit from like a 90-minute, but we still generally don't put the hops in until we're 60 minutes out.
That's correct.
I could be wrong on some styles, but I don't know of any.
No, the extended boil you'll see in a lot of the German styles, but the hop bittering is an hour. And that's the reason why, whether it's extract or all grain, you're going to do an hour boil. If you weren't putting hops at all in a beer and you were doing an extract, you just boil it 15 minutes, enough to kill all the bacteria, and then you're good to go. But with the fact that we are actually creating bittering agents from the hops themselves, you're going to have an hour. that's why you see a lot of the New England style IPAs and all the styles that are more flavor focused on hops, like intense hop flavors. You'll see a lot at the end because you don't want the bittering, you just want the flavor. And if you add a lot of hops at the very beginning, it'll be a beer I won't want to drink because it's just too darn bitter.
Bitter beer face.
I've never thought about it, but on some of those New England where they don't add any bittering hops, maybe you don't even need to boil it in an hour. Maybe you could do it in 30 minutes.
That's true.
Never even crossed my mind before.
Yeah, there's nothing that says that you have to boil for an hour to kill bacteria. I don't know of anything that would last that long that would affect the beer and the flavor and the taste.
Yeah, even the coronavirus can't withstand an hour boil, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, James,
but if you wanted to focus on flavor and aroma, that's all at the end, in the whirlpool and at the end, not the bittering.
You mentioned some German styles doing longer. Is that out of tradition, or there's a science, like there is a reason behind doing the longer?
The reason why they do the extended boil is to remove the DMS. So if you're doing a really light beer like a Kolsch, like most German brewers that brew Kolsch, they'll boil for 90 minutes because they don't want any kind of DMS to affect
what is DMS?
Dimethyl sulfide. So it's a chemical that can cause some off flavors on a lighter beer, something that you would tend to taste in something with a lighter profile.
Not as fun as DMT. Am I right, guys? Not as fun.
Yeah, I don't know the.
This is the Joe Rogan podcast all of a sudden.
I'm surprised I was able to bring the other one up.
Yeah. No, I always wondered, because when I first started working with Todd, it was mainly equipment stuff, right? We brewed, and by we, I mean I watched Todd brew, but I wasn't involved until many years later, where I always just assumed, because I'm dumb, that the hour is just an arbitrary number that we came up with. It was to kill bacteria, and that's just what we've always been doing. But hearing you explain it, like, that made sense why, I mean, you could do a 30, a 40, but the hour lets it work. Lets itself work.
Complete isomerization isn't done in an hour. So you can do partial, which you won't get a lot of that. So you cut it with a little flavor and a little bittering. And as that clock gets closer to zero on the boil, less bittering, more aroma. And that's why you see like a New England style IPA, you'll see they won't recommend you add the hops until you hit the whirlpool between 180 and 190 degrees for about 20 minutes. That's enough to get the aroma out of the hops, but absolutely no bittering whatsoever.
And she's saying the recipes she buys call for an hour long because it's the standard. Have you written a recipe, James, that calls for a longer boil than the?
No, the standard is an hour, and that's what we leave it at. Most people are used to that, and most of the bittering hops are an hour. So we do a bittering hop addition at 60. At the 60 is what we call it, and we scale that hop amount to compensate for the 60-minute boil, and that's pretty universal with all recipe kits and
perfect
retailers.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for submitting the question. A good time to remind you guys, if you do submit a question on our website or by using 325-305-6107, we will give you a $25 gift card when we take it on the show. So, Laura, check your inbox. You should have an automated message about your gift card. So moving on to question number 2 for today's show came from John, who also used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Hey, John wrote, Joshua, I love the show and Kolsch, and you're awesome. Now that I have your attention, and I love it. Now that I have your attention, what are you guys doing differently these days, assuming that you're still brewing and also assuming that you're brewing alone? In the episode where you talked about brewing on the Spiked single vessel unit, you mentioned how heavy it was once it was full. Has brewing alone made you change anything about your brew day? Stay safe out there, fellas. John, we are still brewing. I'll start this one off. My dad and I, just to make it quick, we did an extract brew day. Had a ton of fun. We're planning on another one, potentially this weekend, or I might just brew it here. Another extract kit for next month's Patreon recipe, the Happy Little Hops. But nothing besides that. For us, we changed to extract just to kind of get it to be a quicker brew day, but not any other reason. The guys I'm having the show on today, James and Todd, both get to brew on really nice 3-vessel systems. So I don't know why you'd have to change anything. Todd, have you changed anything about brewing?
I have not. No, I'm brewing. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe I'm brewing more. I mean, I'm been at home a lot. I haven't been traveling. I've been gardening a lot. I've been brewing a lot. I've been doing a lot of things by myself. So, yeah, it's nothing at all has changed in the actual brewing though.
And James, have you had a brew day at the office since all the craziness has happened?
Last brew day we had was at Todd's place, and we were getting ready for the review. I think the review we did earlier on my first pale ale, we did that, and then no, he brewed that. What did we brew?
Oh, no, I brewed that too.
No, you brewed that. What was the one? It was the Belgian ale.
Okay, the Belgian ale. Yeah,
we did a Belgian ale. And well, that was when Kenny was down.
Yeah,
so we did that, and we tested out the spike system.
Which, real quick, Todd, how is that beer? Is it have you had to pitch it? What happened to that beer? I've never asked for a follow up on that.
Oh, okay. So this is going to sound really bad. I shouldn't even tell this story. I was kegging beer one night and transferring into secondaries, and I had I sampled each beer trying to get the carbonation right, and then I sampled both the beers I pulled out of the secondaries and was putting in to also carbonate those. So I tried 4 or 5 different beers, and then I got to that one, and I took a sample. I took a sip of it, and I went, "Wow, I've actually had several beers. I should probably wait and try this again later because I'm not positive it's bad, but I'm not positive it's good." And that was 3 days ago, and I haven't tried it again. So I think it's bad because I don't want to try it again. I think we scorched the grain.
Yeah,
the one that was on the
spike.
Okay.
Yeah, the single vessel.
I'm sorry. The one that James and I brewed I'm pointing over there and y'all can see it. In my beer fridge, those are both in secondaries.
No, James, he was talking about the beer Kenny and I brewed.
Oh, okay.
Where we, it was eventful.
Yeah, but the other two, I mean, the one that we brewed, James, it's going to be excellent. And I haven't tried it in a few days. It's amazing how fast it got clear. That was this weekend, and I think I could keg it already. I mean,
I think we used the Imperial Triple Double on that, didn't we? I think that's right.
Todd,
and it's a real aggressive yeast. So, I mean, it'll rip through fermentables in just a few days. So you want to give that definitely, if you're going to be fermenting on the colder side, you definitely want to do a diacetyl on that.
Todd, in the Buybock, it's funny, but it's been sitting in this glass.
Oh, that orange juice you're holding? Yeah.
And
you can see it at the bottom.
Look at the bottom, how it's already started to settle just during the podcast.
Wow.
So I'm already clarifying this beer in my glass. So, but anyway, it's amazing how fast those two cleared up, and I'll be able to keg them fast. But the Maibach, it literally has been bubbling for a week and a half. It's still bubbling today. So it's been so slow and constant and perfect. And when it started fermenting, it was like blop, blop, blop. And a week later, it was blop, blop, blop. It did not change in speed. I don't even understand it.
And that's, so that's the if you're fermenting at lager temps, it's going to do that. But if you have everything right and you have the correct pitched amount of yeast, it's going to chug along. It'll take a little longer than an ale because we're talking 50-degree temperatures. But when you get done, it's a very good beer.
Well, when this podcast is over, I'm walking over there and turning the temp down and cold crashing it. So,
Oh, what a rough life, man! I was actually John brought up the single vessel system, and so I talked to your shipping guys, and it is not feasible to get the spike system shipped to me. Hear me out. Tell me what you think. I'm willing to do it because I really want I want to brew on it with my dad and us do an actual formal video because that was the whole plan before chaos ensued.
Yeah, we got to get a video to spike.
I know, exactly. I want to do that video. So
no, it's totally realistic to ship it to you. What do you mean we can't ship it to you? They shipped it to us.
I know. I'm saying it's expensive.
I think we can ship it to them. I think.
Okay, I was willing to come pick it up. I was gonna do a morning, get on the road early, come pick it up.
No need for that. I mean, we can put that in a box, pack it, and you can have it.
Okay, what I'm actually confessing is I gotta get out of this house. Okay, guys.
I knew that's where we were going.
It's too much estrogen, man. I got my wife. She's going crazy trying to teach digitally, hitting the computer like Todd does. Like, why isn't this thing working right? Got my kids banging on my door. I don't know if you have heard them. They're fighting. They're arguing. Let me do the drive. But no, if we could ship it, maybe we could ship it. But
I took my dad in for some more medical stuff yesterday, and I have to take him again tomorrow. And I came home and I told my mom, I said, Dad can't do anything, because my dad's outside all day working on stuff. He's 85. He's always working on stuff. I was like, Dad can't do anything. You have to shackle him to the chair and not allow him to get up. And he just has to sit there until he finishes all these tests. And I was like, so basically you've been here with him for a month now because of the coronavirus, they can't leave. And now he's going to be in the same room with you, and he can't really do any work, but he can give you advice on what to do. And she's like, it doesn't matter about the medical thing. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's what I told Todd.
He's going to die one way or
another. I told him, I said, it won't be from his heart issues. It'll be blunt force trauma.
Blunt force trauma. And that may be, I don't know, Josh, if you don't get out of there, your wife, I could see some blunt. At least you have your own room. Look, you got your own room. Yeah. A lot of guys don't have that.
I know. Well, look, if you see, I'll hold the camera up a little. Those drums have really been annoying her lately. All that stuff has really been annoying her. You could just say, I've been really annoying her. But no, I do want to get that spite system. And to wrap up John's question, fortunately, no, not a whole lot has changed. We're still brewing. We hope you guys are brewing. We hope that you're able to get the ingredients you need. And we hope that you're able, if being a part, even if you're not a contributing member of our Patreon, if you find that group on Facebook, I'll probably let you in. People are sharing recipes. They're sharing photos of the brew day. Right now, I'm finding community, even though it's digital right now, is really helping me get through like the stressful parts of the day, like seeing like, oh, that guy, look at that teaser he built out. Oh, that's awesome. That little inspiration. Or look at that brew day. It goes a long way, guys. And which is a good plug too, like to, if you had a homebrew club that's not meeting right now, reach out to those guys, check in on them. If y'all can, Todd and I have mentioned before, if you need help organizing digital meetings or anything like that, I'd love to give y'all a quick tutorial on free software you can use like Zoom or the free version of StreamYard, or there's a lot of options, but I'm totally digressing. But either way, thank you for submitting the question, John. Guys, we have one more question for today's show. Came from David, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. David wrote, in a recent episode, James mentioned extending the boil to hit the right starting gravity for the wort. It is my understanding that late addition hops add more aroma, while early additions are for bittering. Would you need to calculate how much to boil off before adding late hop additions? Am I right to think that extending the boil too long would change aroma hops into bittering hops? And then he has a second question that is, I'm also planning on buying a jockey box and would wonder what's the best way to store it. Obviously, after I use it, it would need to be cleaned and sanitized, but how would you ensure the lines and plate are dry before putting it away? In the past, I had sanitizer in a beer line. After several months, the sanitizer lost its effectiveness and mold started growing in the lines. I would imagine if I'm going more than a few months in between each use of my jockey box, something similar might happen as well. Any tips? Thanks, David. Let's start with the first question. I'm going to throw it to you, James, because it kind of ties into our last question.
Yeah, it absolutely, positively will change the way the hop schedule affects the beer taste. If you've got a hop bag and you're using that, I would suggest putting your hops in a muslin bag. And if you find that, I think initially, if you see that you're low on gravity and you're going to have to do extended boil, make sure that you do compensate for that, because you don't want the aroma hops to be in there very long. So you're absolutely right. You do need to make changes to where it's not sitting there boiling enough to where it will extract some bittering agents. So absolutely, yes, you do. And you'll know that when you start your boil. If you start your boil and you see that I'm not really where I should be on gravity, maybe you let it boil a little bit before you add your bittering hops. But
yeah, absolutely
on the aroma hops. You want to have.
We're very experienced in that, aren't we, James? Many times we have taken a reading and went, oh crap, because James and I are always trying to hit like 18 gallons because that way, when we're done, we're going to put 17 in the fermenter, and we'll actually, by the time we get all the crap out of the bottom, we're going to get kegs with a little more than 5 gallons in each one. Yeah. Sometimes we try too hard and we've got 19 gallons in there, and we're like, oh crap, we're going to need to boil like 4 gallons off to hit the gravity right. So we boil quite a while before we add the first hop addition. So
that's true. And in fact, if you remember the last batch that we did, that Belgian ale, we boiled it for 30, 45 minutes before we added the bittering hops in it, because we knew we were way low on gravity.
Yeah. And so we actually, I'm looking at it here. We were real proud of the fact that we were going to make full 15 gallons or 16 gallons of beer in the secondary fermenters. There are 2 5-gallon fermenters that aren't 100% full over there. So we really had to boil it down.
We boiled it. If you remember, we had to boil that down all the way to 12 gallons.
Yeah.
Before we pitched the yeast. And then I was able to put those into 2 buckets. I had 3 ready, but we didn't have enough to fill 3 buckets. So we had to pull it in the 2 buckets. And I was afraid that the airlocks were going to be full of trub.
And those carbon, they were. I mean, the whole top of the lid was full of trub, or basically yeast that popped out the top.
Yeah.
I never had to change them out or put a hose on them, but I actually couldn't find. I have lids and have a hose connection for them, and I couldn't find them. I have a mess up
that's
there.
Right.
So I ended up pulling them off probably 5 or 6 times, cleaning them all out and putting them back on. But the first time I did it, because I was afraid we're going to pop the lids off. The first time I did it, I totally cleaned them out, put sanitizer in there, put it back in there. And I looked 30 minutes later, it was completely full of yeast again. So it was working, man.
Working hard. Yeah. On his second question, Todd, I want to throw it to you first, because this equipment's kind of been your thing. Of the thousands of views that we've had on your build a jockey bots in less than 10-minute video or 8-minute or whatever it is, I'm surprised this question has never come up. I've never thought of it. I have a jockey bots that I've never used, so I store it by how it came because I haven't used it yet. What is the proper way of store? Is there a proper way? Just make sure everything's dry. Or what do you do?
I would say what I normally would do is I would clean it really good, use Brew Clean or some kind of a cleaner like that. And then when I'm done, to me, the thing that I have the least problems with is just water. If there's just a little bit of water in there. But what you could certainly do, I just had a dog show up. Hello. What you could certainly do is clean it really good, run water through it at the end, and then I have an air compressor, run some compressed air through there real hard to kind of blow it out a little bit better. But for the most part, if you do all that, it's going to dry out pretty well.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to have a problem. I've never had a problem. The other thing that you have to think about is that you can see the lines. That's no problem. What the issue is that inside of that, it depends on what you're using, a coil or a block of aluminum that has the line going through there. I mean, you can't see inside those lines. So I'm always concerned about those. So if you've stored it for a long time and you do have some concerns, mix up some really hot cleaner, like Brew Clean, and get it super hot, concentrated, run some of that through there, let it sit for a while, flush it out again, let it sit for a while, flush it out again, and just kind of make sure you get everything nice and clean, and then sanitize it. If you're worried about it and you think that you might have had some liquid in there, you can usually get them clean by doing that.
Sam, I'm happy that this question came in because I was expecting from you, because you're the stickler on kegerator setups. You're the stickler for I clean them every 2 weeks, but I know obviously it's not apples to apples because you're using it consistently and there's constantly beer going through. Would you say there's a time period for a jockey bots that I would probably after the 5th time I used it, replace the lines, or as long as you're keeping it maintained?
You can't, because the lines are the metal lines, stainless steel lines.
Yeah, good point.
So, I mean, you could replace the outside lines, but they don't really make up much of that system. So you gotta keep it clean. And the other thing too is don't ever leave sanitizer in something. Sanitizer is meant to be put in and taken away right away. Sanitizer does not do well in stuff long term. It'll completely discolor your lines, discolor your other equipment. You want to use sanitizer for a few minutes and then get it out of there.
Because a lot of sanitizer is a acid-based cleaner. So acid, as far as I know, is not good on anything. So for a long term.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just over here for one thing, looking at Todd's dog, but the other thing, thinking of how bad at cleaning I am. And I didn't want to bring it up because of Todd's judgmental eyes where he's like, well, Josh, when's the last time you cleaned out your kegerator lines?
We can all be guilty of that.
Yeah. Well, not Todd. Not Todd. When is the last time you cleaned your lines, Todd? Oh no, why'd you take your headphones off?
I saw a weenie dog run by.
Here. Y'all can talk.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, we're wrapping it up anyway. I
have 3 of them in here.
Oh gosh, another dog.
Look at this one.
How do you get so many? How do you get so many dogs? It's Tori, right?
Yeah, Tori. Yeah.
It's like I get one puppy, gotta get another puppy, and then Todd just acquires them all. Hilarious. David, David, thank you so much for submitting your question. Again, final reminder before I wrap up the show: when you submit a question that we take on the air, we give you a $25 gift card to keconnection.com. Check your inbox, David. You should have an email about that. So, Mr. Carlson, Todd, you're back. Hey, okay.
I'm sorry about that. I left them outside, the dogs, but they actually broke through the door. My lab can open doorknobs now. So
like the Velociraptor on Jurassic Park.
That's exactly right.
So I was just wrapping it up, and thank you guys both for taking time. I know James, you've been crazy busy lately helping out there. I really thank you so much for doing both shows back to back with us today.
Oh no, this is fun. But I do want to give a shout out to the medical people in the field today working. God, can't say enough good things about the nurses out there handling all this stuff.
Do you have a local place? Maybe we could brew a batch for them and bottle a bunch of beer. That was an idea I had. So the surgeon who treated my daughter, Dr. George, a saint, poor man, passed away earlier this year, or was it at the end of last year? But I told Christy, I was like, man, I'm going to brew him this beer. I'm going to bring it and give it to the nurses that have helped us. And I still want to do that for all the other people still on the team, because it took a whole huge team to help my daughter get through her brain surgery. But maybe we could brew a batch for local first responders and hospital or whatever of y'all's area, because I know we have the equipment to brew. We could definitely do that, or think of something.
My doctor's a home brewer, so he would love that.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. He'd want a whole keg.
But your doctor's the one who also said that you are the epitome of health, right? Didn't he say that? Or
no, I think he said the picture.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. So thank you guys so much for doing the show with me. I'll catch y'all next week. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsor, Imperial Yeast, for supporting us and the home brewing community. Join any top tier of our Patreon community, and you'll get free premium liquid Imperial Yeast shipped out to you with your Patreon recipe kit. Get more information at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.
This program is made possible by the checkbook of Mr. Todd Burns and by contributions to our newly launched Patreon by viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and join our community. Thank you.